Hello, my name's Jonathan Bailey, and it's my turn to be your Agony Uncle. Let's listen to some of your questions and see if I can offer some pearls of wisdom.
California.
My husband keeps leaving his dirty pants on the bedroom floor. I'm fed up. What shall I do?
Put them on your head, wear them to a dinner party and look at him and say, "You did this to me." Don't do that. I'd say maybe ask him, what do I do that really annoys you? Can you think of anything? And you can just say, so when you leave the pants on the floor, that's the same as when I do that to you. Because more often than not, they don't fully understand the effect it has on you. They might need a system in place. Without being patronising, you could play pant picking up game. You can be playful with it.
Dear Jonathan, I'm dating a really sweet guy at the moment. We get on well, but I worry we're missing that spark. Okay. What do you think I should do?
I think you found yourself a friend there, which is super exciting and really nice. And I think honesty and transparency is key. I think in maybe bringing the idea of there not being a spark into conversation, you can just sort of lean into the reasons first why they're brilliant and why you think they're really sweet and lovely. Always give people space to be kind, because more often than not they are. And they're probably feeling it too. It could be a real relief for both parties.
My boyfriend has started writing poetry and it's like really bad. Do I tell him what I think or do I lie?
I don't think you need to tell him anything. That's just a sweet personal expression. You don't have to be brilliant at it for it to have merit. And unless he's like incessantly reading it to you and it's taking up your time, maybe you could start by just saying, you know what would be great is let's just dedicate 20 minutes and you can, read the poetry of the week then. Unless, he's ready to sell all your clothes and car and house to go and start a life as a poet. You don't need to worry. God, how dreamy to be with someone who writes poetry. I think that's a great thing.
Hi, Jonathan. I've just booked my first role alongside an actor I really admire.
Fun.
I wondered if you had any advice on how I could manage being potentially starstruck in the workplace.
No matter what career you're in, if you're working alongside someone that you really value and that you admire, then you're in the right place. I got given really, really, really brilliant advice. It's actually very simple. Instead of thinking about how you're going to be in that environment, before you walk into the room or you start your day's work, think, how can I be of service to other people? How can I make sure that the crew are all right and having a good time? How can I check in with that person to see if they're able to work and deliver and that the environment's good for them? Put that energy out into the room in a positive way. Also, who is it? Really fun.
Hey Jonathan, I hate to admit it, but I'm actually an awful dancer. Do you have any tips for loosening up and getting better rhythm?
I'd say that dancing is easiest when you're in front of strangers, and then obviously in like gigs and like big spaces. Festivals are amazing for that, because then you're going somewhere where everyone's in the same boat, and I think then your confidence will build. Or if you're with your best mates, get everyone around and say, look, let's just have a dance party and can I observe? I think basically, you just want to build to a point where you just go, it doesn't matter what anyone thinks.
Hey Jonathan, I'm starting a new job soon. I want to make a good first impression, but I'm naturally quite introverted. What advice would you give to someone who struggles with confidence?
I think it's all about the work at the beginning. In a healthy work environment, the work and the merit of the work is going to be the thing that grounds you in that environment. Everyone loves someone who's enthused and respected and steadfast worker. The friends and the relationships will come later. Also, plan to meet a friend of yours, a really good friend of yours, the minute you leave the office or work. And if it isn't that, and you're like working abroad and you don't have them, that's really scary, then I think a TV series that you loved growing up that feels sort of familiar. I mean, I would watch like reruns of Top of the Pops on YouTube, bloopers, Friends bloopers, roller coaster rides, POV, Simpsons as well, that's good.
So I've started dating my best friend's friend and I can tell that he feels weird about it. Yeah. What do I do? Do I clear the air or do I just ignore it?
Well, firstly, best friend's friend means that you've probably got a lot in common. I'm digging it. I'm into this. I think be clear and be honest. You say to your friend, you say, listen, the friendship is number one priority. I love this. Everyone's a friend. I'm excited for the wedding. Can I come?
Hi Jonathan, I absolutely loved you in Wicked. I'm really struggling to find a work-life balance and I was just wondering if you had any tips or pointers for me.
The crucial thing is understanding yourself and what really brings you joy. And it can be anything. It can be going to see pals, eating your favourite food, listening to your favourite music, going to a gig. Book that into the weekend, but then to block off time before and after just for yourself so that you can really enjoy the run-up and the aftermath and process it, and to always have one day a week where you're not engaging with anything to do with work.
I want to get better at singing. Any techniques you could share?
My niece was singing in a sort of a nativity concert at her local primary school. And you remember that we are all born with like a real sense of joy with singing. And that's a privilege that we're given at that age. And then there's so much that happens from that moment in life that makes you feel self-conscious or self-aware, that constricts and restricts. When you see brilliant singers in their element, they just find the joy in it and it opens everything out. And I think that's a really brilliant technique. Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande in Wicked. If you watch any of their live performances, you just see the joy that they feel when singing.
Dear Jonathan, my best friend has just had a baby, but now I barely see her and I'm worried about losing the friendship. Do you have any advice on maintaining relationships when life moves in different directions?
It's such a massive change, especially for the mother. Her whole body, her whole identity, and the way that the world sees her changes over a 9-month period. And it's an incredibly tough adjustment. And that's not even before you even consider the fact that then every day your whole focus and, you know, almost 80% of your brain is taken up by this incredible little being. So the advice I was told is that not to judge yourself or your relationship for the first 4 years. Because really, it's 4 years of, like Sandra Bullock in Gravity, floating about, not having any idea of who you are. You feel like you've lost your personality, or you feel like you've gained multiple new personalities. The real friends will always be there. Just send a message and say, if you need me, I'm going to be here. I realise that this is happening. Thinking of you, but no pressure, because they might be really desperate to be returning to their former self, which felt good and confident. And if they're still not talking to you after like 3 years after that, sack them off. Next one.
Hey, Jonathan. I've just got nominated for an award, and if I win, I have to make a speech.
Ooh.
Do you think I should prepare one, or will that jinx it all?
It's the most terrifying thing, I think, to know that you may have to give a speech. I think it's really amazing that people can remember speeches and they can do off the cuff. I think I can't do that, so I would write it down. I don't think if you write a speech down, it's going to affect if you win or not. And then also, presumably then you've said it in front of a friend, which is quite nice. That was me. Jonathan, as your agony uncle. I hope there were some glimmers of wisdom in there.